Digby, when we broke, we were talking about one feature of the Trump presidency, putting aside for a moment the horribleness that comes, I don't know how else to describe it, with a Republican-dominated government, even putting aside for a moment the fascism that Donald Trump is unleashing and has unleashed in this country. We had 200 neo-Nazis giving, saying, "Hail Trump, hail victory, hail the white race," or white, who knows what. Even putting that aside, and the fact that he critiqued the production of Hamilton, giving a sort of fairly conciliatory note, as more than he would these neo-Nazis saluting him in Washington, D.C. Let's just talk for a moment, and we were talking about this kleptocracy quality to this, where the U.S. government becomes a leverage point to drive business. I mean, this is something. It's weird, but the funny thing is, like, you can see this in small towns where, like, a town supervisor basically says, like, I'm going to throw some business to my buddy Bob over there who does construction, and he's going to buy all his stationery from me because I own a stationery store. I mean, this is stuff you see in small towns. To see it on this level is just, it's unprecedented, and it is norm destroying. I don't know how we return from this. But broadly speaking, Digby, here's the question. How does the opposition face this guy? Do they try and obstruct everything? It's not going to work because we don't have necessarily the tools. But in terms of signaling to the country, is it best to just obstruct? Is it best to try and engage in certain areas, or at least pretend to drive a wedge? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's tough. I don't, My instinct, and at this point I'm so overwhelmed by what's happening that it's hard for me to actually think this through on any super rational basis, and I'm sure there are a lot of people smarter than I am who are doing it. But my instinct is to say resist. And by resist, I mean that you cannot move off of the reality of what's happening. I think that the minute we start to fudge around the edges by saying, well, we can work with him, or as long as he does this, we'll do that, or any of the kind of normal political strategies you might use to say drive a wedge between him and the Republican Party. I think I don't think we know yet what we're dealing with in Trump, and I think it's premature to think that would work. And I think that right now, what is most important is to try to keep a firm grip on reality about what we're looking at, what he is, what we see, what is abnormal about this, and just try to do that much for the time being. What we are seeing is, as you put it, this breaking of norms across the board. This is very difficult. These are things that are genies that are hard to put back in the bottle once they're let out. The idea that presidents have no obligation to observe these norms, and that the party that they belong to, that there's no political, they have no political leverage on him at the moment. It doesn't seem to me. I mean, let's think about this for a minute. The Republican Party was already having a nervous breakdown before Trump came along. In fact, it may be their nervous breakdown that opened the door for him. They are in no institutional position to do anything. They are at the mercy of the same people that backed Trump, and have been for a long time, by the way. I mean, this was going on long before Trump came on the scene. You'll recall, until very recently, Paul Ryan was the number one enemy of many people on the right, because he, a far-right congressman from Wisconsin, was considered a sellout for behaving normally. I like a normal leader, which is to say, try to govern in some, horrific fashion. He was vilified by people on the right for that. So, we are dealing with a party that was already in the midst of a nervous breakdown, and now we have this unprecedented leadership, and with tentacles all over the world, and this base of racist white nationalist base. I mean, this is very scary stuff. So my instinct at this point is to say, be clear, be truthful, be honest. Do not don't try and do, pull any sort of clever maneuvers at this point, because I'm not sure which way this is going. And frankly, I don't think the Democrats are skilled enough to do it. I mean, trusting Chuck Schumer to do something, some kind of 11-dimensional chess with Donald Trump, I think may be a mistake. So, I think just try to stay clear. That's the best I can do at the moment. I don't know where we're going to go with this, but it's clear that something very, very unique is happening. This is like nothing we've ever seen before in this country, not just in my lifetime, and I'm old, but I mean going all the way back. There's nothing like this, and we have got to try to maintain our grip on what we're seeing and be clear about it, and not try and get too fine with the strategy and tactics, I think, until we get a firmer idea of where this is going to go.
I think you're absolutely right about this. I mean, we have there's plenty of analogies, but it's the middle of the day, and we're watching a very big raccoon walking down the road towards us, and we know something's wrong. Mm-hmm. There's no point in going up near this thing until we get a sense of just how, what the nature of this danger is. I mean, we just sort of outlined like the three elements to this, the kleptocracy, the fascism, and just the idea of a conservative-dominated government. These are all distinct concerns, I think, and it's hard to know which one to address first, or and I think the keeping distance is probably the best idea at this point, rather than getting clever, because there are too many cross currents here.
Yeah, exactly.
And I also think that, the one advantage, and of course there's concerns associated with this, is that you're talking about a group of very incompetent people who are driven by something that is, it's beyond even, it's not just ideology. It's just self-enrichment, and that breeds a lot of infighting. So we might want to stick back and just see as the knives get pulled out who gets flayed first. But
exactly.
Digby, we're going to talk about this a lot more going forward. But I appreciate your time today.
My pleasure, Sam. Take it easy.